Let's be honest about the hardest moment of the day. It isn't the morning, when you have your routine and your coffee. It isn't the afternoon, when you are busy running errands or ticking things off your list. It is that specific moment around 6 p.m. You turn the key in your front door, you step inside, and you are greeted not by a voice, but by a deafening silence. For many of you watching this right now, the very first thing you do is turn on the television. Not because there is anything you want to watch, but just to hear the sound of a human voice in the room. You make your tea, you sit in your favorite chair, and you tell yourself, "I'm fine, I'm independent, I don't need anyone." But deep down, there is a hollow ache in your chest that no amount of distractions can fill. For years, doctors dismissed this feeling as just sadness or the blues. They told you to get a cat or join a bridge club. But here is the terrifying new reality that medical research in 2024 and 2025 has finally uncovered. That ache you feel isn't just an emotion, it is a biological scream. We now know that chronic loneliness acts on your body with the same destructive force as physical poison. Leading cardiologists are now going on record to say that living with untreated loneliness is the biological equivalent of smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Think about that for a second. You could be a non-smoker. You could eat organic food. You could do your daily walks religiously. But if you are coming home to that crushing isolation every single night, your arteries are taking the same damage as a chain smoker. Why is this happening? To understand it, we have to look at how your brain is wired. For 99% of human history, if you were alone, you were dead. Being separated from the tribe meant you were vulnerable to predators, to freezing, to starvation. So when you are alone for too long, your primitive brain, the amygdala, hits the panic button. It doesn't know you are safe in a locked house in the suburbs. It thinks you are abandoned on the savannah. It floods your system with cortisol, the stress hormone. This is the silent fire. It is why your blood pressure stays elevated. It is why your sleep is shallow, because your brain is subconsciously listening for threats all night. And most dangerously, your immune system triggers a massive release of inflammatory markers. You aren't just sad, your body is literally fighting a war against an invisible enemy every single night. This is why you feel that deep physical exhaustion even when you haven't done anything all day. Your body is running a marathon of stress while you are sitting still on the sofa. But I want you to listen closely. This is not your fault. And it is not a life sentence. The first step to breaking this cycle is realizing that your body isn't failing you, it's trying to save you. But cortisol does something else that is even more insidious, something that might explain why you find it so hard to leave the house in the first place. Psychologists call it the hostile world scenario. When you are lonely and flooded with stress hormones, your brain actually changes how it perceives other people's faces. Research shows that lonely people are more likely to interpret a neutral face as an angry or rejecting one. So when you go to the shops and the cashier looks tired, your lonely brain whispers, "They don't like you. They think you're a nuisance." This creates a vicious cycle. You feel lonely, so you withdraw to feel safe, which makes you lonelier, which makes the world look even scarier. We need to break that cycle today, and we start by changing one word in your vocabulary. There is a massive, life-changing difference between isolation and solitude. They look the same from the outside. In both cases, you are by yourself, but on the inside, they are polar opposites. Isolation is something that happens to you. It feels like a punishment. It is the empty chair where a spouse used to sit. It is grounded in loss and fear. Solitude, on the other hand, is a choice. It is a state of richness. Think about it this way. A prisoner in solitary confinement is being tortured. A monk in a mountain retreat is finding peace. Physically, their situations are identical. The only difference is mindset. When you reclaim your time alone as solitude, you stop being a victim of circumstance and start becoming the master of your own domain. Neuroscience backs this up. When you stop fighting the silence and start embracing it, your brain switches into a different gear called the default mode network. This is the state where deep memories are processed and where you finally find peace with who you are. The happiest seniors I know aren't the ones at the loud bingo hall. They're the ones you see in the park, reading a book with a content smile. They aren't lonely. They are enjoying their own company.
So, how do we get there? Let's talk about the bad advice you've heard 1,000 times. Well-meaning friends say, just put yourself out there. Join a bridge club. Go to the senior center. And every time you hear that, does your stomach tighten? The truth is, for many of us, walking into a room full of strangers isn't exciting. It's terrifying. It feels like the first day of high school all over again. So I want you to take a deep breath and let that pressure go. You do not need to join a club. You do not need to host a dinner party. In fact, cutting-edge sociology research has found a loophole called the power of weak ties. Your brain doesn't only crave deep soulmate conversations. It actually gets a massive mood-lifting biological boost from brief, low-stakes interactions with people you barely know. The danger of living alone isn't that you lack a spouse, it's that you become invisible. You can go days without anyone acknowledging you exist. These weak ties are the cure for invisibility. Here are 3 strategies that require zero bravery. Strategy 1, the checkout challenge. I want you to stop using the self-checkout machines at the grocery store. Those machines are efficiency traps that rob you of human contact. Go to the line with a real person. Look at their name tag. When you get to the front, use their name. Ask, "Has it been a busy shift today, Sarah?" You will be shocked. Their eyes will light up because someone actually saw them as a person. In that 30-second transaction, your brain registers, "I am seen. I am part of the tribe." Strategy 2, the dog trick. If you are walking in the park and you see someone with a dog, you have a golden ticket. You don't have to talk to the human, talk to the dog. Say, "Oh, aren't you a beautiful dog?" The owner will beamingly tell you the dog's name and breed. You smile, you nod, you keep walking. Boom, you just socialized. You lowered your blood pressure without the anxiety of making conversation. Strategy 3, the third place, ambient sociability. Sometimes you don't want to talk at all. That is fine. Go to a library or a coffee shop. Bring your newspaper. Sit there for 20 minutes. Psychologists call this ambient sociability. Just being in the presence of other people, hearing the hum of conversation, the clinking of cups, calms your amygdala. It tells your primitive brain the tribe is near, you are safe. You don't have to speak to a soul to get the biological benefit.
But what do you do when you are at home, it's late at night, and that wave of panic or loneliness hits you physically? You can't go to a coffee shop at 10 p.m. You need a physical switch to turn off the silent fire of cortisol. There is a nerve in your body called the vagus nerve. It runs from your brain, down your neck, and into your heart and gut. It is the brake pedal for your stress system. When you feel lonely, your vagus tone drops. Here is a 30-second trick to stimulate it immediately without leaving your chair. The humming reset. Sit back, take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, I want you to hum, a deep, low hum until your lungs are empty. Why does this work? Because the vagus nerve passes right through your vocal cords. The vibration of a low hum physically stimulates the nerve, sending a direct signal to your brain to lower your heart rate and release oxytocin. It sounds silly, but it is biological magic.
Do it 3 times and you will feel your shoulders drop and that hollow ache in your chest start to loosen. Once you have calmed your body and connected with the world on your own terms, you are left with one final question. You look at the clock on the wall, ticking slowly, and you think, okay, I'm not scared anymore, but I am bored. Is this all there is? This is the waiting room trap. Many seniors feel like their life's main movie is over. The career is done, the kids are raised, and now they are just sitting in the lobby waiting for the credits to roll. It is a heavy, gray feeling. Flip that script. You are not in the lobby, you are in your third act. And in every great story, the third act is where the character finally becomes who they were meant to be. The happiest people living alone have made a critical mental shift. They stopped asking, "Who am I with?" and started asking, "What am I creating?" This triggers a neurological state called flow. It's that moment when you are so absorbed in doing something that 3 hours pass in the blink of an eye. When you are in flow, it is biologically impossible to feel lonely. And please, do not tell yourself the lie that you are too old to learn. Your brain craves novelty. Maybe it is gardening, nurturing living things so you are needed. Maybe it is finally organizing 40 years of family photos into albums, becoming the historian for your family. Maybe it is woodworking, or painting, or learning to bake sourdough. When you wake up knowing you have a project waiting for you, the silence in the house changes. It stops being empty space and starts being focused space. You start to protect your solitude because you need it to get your work done. You aren't a lonely senior staring at the wall. You are a creator who is too busy to be lonely. So look around your living room right now. Really look at it. The chair is exactly where you want it. The thermostat is set to the temperature you like. There is peace here. This is not a cage. This is your kingdom. You have navigated the treacherous waters of loneliness and discovered that on the other side lies a land of incredible freedom. You now understand that the ache was just your body asking for connection. You know how to give it that, in small, manageable doses at the shop or the library without sacrificing your sanctuary. You are not alone in the dark sense of the word. You are autonomous. You are sovereign, and that is something to be fiercely proud of. But there is one specific, hidden advantage to living alone that we haven't touched on yet. It is a secret benefit that is actually making you biologically younger than your married friends, specifically when the lights go out. While they are fighting over the covers and dealing with snoring partners that ruin their heart health, you have a secret weapon in your bedroom.